Dear viewers, we are back and we have been joined by our final guest for this evening, Mr. Hamza Taqi, the Master Performance Consultant. Of course, we're going to be talking about creativity, which I believe really does open the mind and it's very vital to our society. But we'll talk about all of that with our guest. Good evening, welcome to Hela Kuwait.
Good evening, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be around.
It's our pleasure to have you with us. And usually, just like creativity opens the mind, conversations with you do that too. We get into a lot of details when it comes to every topic. So this evening we're talking about creativity. What is that?
Creativity is basically a process that leads to generation of ideas or novel or original, unique way of doing things.
Yes.
And it basically it requires people to have there is basically three components of it.
Yeah.
For example, your expertise, that means your knowledge and your skills. And then you have the other component is the motivation.
Right.
And are you motivated to do whatever you're supposed to do or create? And it's both intrinsic and extrinsic motivation.
Of course.
And then the third part is the creative thinking. And creative thinking basically is the use of our imaginations and being flexible and curious. So if those three components overlap, in the center will be where the creativity is.
Definitely, and I think it's a very important part to get to that center that we're all looking for. So can we say that what you mentioned are the types of creativity?
Well, a type of creativity is a bit different, and there are many authors and psychologists that studies creativity, and they have different type of, but the main, let's say, there are three, which is the simultaneous creativity, which is, you get an idea out of the blue, like eureka moment, and you find the solution. There is a deliberate creativity. Deliberate creativity is more like, if we take an example for our audience to understand, Thomas Edison, when he created the light bulb, he had to go through a trial and errors and hundreds of times of failures, persistent to come up with the right way of doing the light bulb. And then finally is the emotional creativity.
Yes.
And the emotional creativity, it is it's where you manage your emotions and understand the emotions of others, so you'll have good collaboration, teamwork to solve any problem that you have. So the three types are in that way.
Of course, I think there's so much more to creativity, but dear viewers, let's go to this break and we'll be right back with our guest. Dear viewers, we are back from this break, and of course we're continuing our interview with Mr. Hamza Taqi, the Master Performance Consultant. So we were talking about the different types of creativity out there, but can we talk about the different characteristics of a creative personality?
Yes, we can. Creative people, basically, they are more curious. They don't judge things until they look at it from different dimensions, from different perspectives. So they are in that, they are like when we are little children, we are more curious. We want to find out. You see a child breaking sometimes a toy,
right? And
the parents get upset because they spend money on this toy.
Definitely, I've seen that.
But actually, that is he or she, that child, is trying to find out how does this move, or how.
Right.
So it is in us, creativity, and the sorry, I missed your question a bit.
Yes, the characteristics
Yes,
of someone
so
that's creative.
Exactly. So curiosity is one of them, and then creative people are flexible,
Right.
and they embrace a trial and error. They are resilient. When they make a mistake, they find out what they've learned from that mistake or that fault to move forward. So they're
Yes.
always, in the search of solving the issue or the problem, and that makes them really, because there is a need for people to
Right.
be seen as for example, a problem solver. We all want people who would solve our challenges or problems. We want them to be around with us, and they are lifetime learners. They
Yes.
always want to learn, and they surround themselves with inspiring people rather than people who demotivate them. Or, for example, if they are working in an environment, and then in that environment, whenever you make a mistake, you're punished.
Right.
So in that, you cannot be innovative, you cannot be
Exactly.
creative in that, but you will go under, and you go through the process, through the how they do things as is, even though if you don't like it or there are better way of doing
course.
things, you follow it because they get upset or they punish you when you try something new.
That's right. And I think when you mentioned the kids and breaking the toys
Yeah.
situation, I never thought of it that way. And I think maybe sometimes it's okay for parents to actually let their children explore, find
Yes.
out how the toy is made or whatever the child is trying to find out at
Right,
that moment.
right.
Yes, it is hard.
Actually
Earns
play
money.
with actually play with them,
Exactly.
Yeah, participate.
I think that
helps.
would be a great activity
Yeah.
because I think all parents want their children to actually grow up and be creative, and it's something
Absolutely.
creativity we need it in our jobs, businesses, even at home with our family.
everywhere.
It's very
everywhere.
important, and of course we're going to talk more about the importance of creativity. But I really want to know, are we born with creativity, or does it differ from a person to another? Because I don't think we're all maybe to the same level of creative.
I believe it's a myth to say that people are born with the creativity. Well, let me take that back, because see, we're all created equal, and we all have that system of creativity.
Yes.
We have all the component that we can become creative. But the issue is when we don't, try to be creative, or the issue when we shy away, when we are faced with a situation, a
Yes.
challenge or a problem, we shy away, we want help, somebody else, daddy or my sister or my brother or my friend to come and help me. But if you really work on it, and again, there is sometimes some people, they have a limiting belief. They say, no, I've never, solved a problem. I cannot
Right.
do that. So if you say to yourself, you cannot do it, you will not be able to do it.
Of course.
But we are all have the creative piece within us, and we can learn it.
Of course.
Some people are gifted, as you said, but if they don't practice it, if they don't, it's like a muscle. It's a process. It's a journey. It's not an end or an end goal. It's a
Of
process.
course.
It's a lifetime thingy, and the more you practice it, the more you become creative.
Definitely. And as I said, sometimes individuals do put this wall where they believe they are not able to do a specific task or even be creative, and that does limit us as humans. Our own monsters and walls could be a big issue for us.
Absolutely. And once we overcome that, we become surprised of our capability.
Exactly.
Yes, that we can do it.
And it's a great push for us to continue in that path.
Absolutely.
So how can we actually find our creativity? Let's say I am stuck in this box where I think I'm not as creative or not as creative as my friend. How can I be creative? And you mentioned learning being creative. Is that a thing?
Yes, of course. See, as we said, the three components is your expertise. So your passion, why you are doing what you're doing in the area or in the area of your work, then you are expert in that job.
Yes.
So you can be creative. You have that component. And then am I motivated to do things differently? Am I motivated
course.
to be more proactive or take initiative or try something different? And then the third element is the creative thinking, which is the
Yes.
imagination. Now, we all have a great imagination, you know. I mean, look at us. I mean, just the 20th century alone, look at the development that took place in
Right.
this all over the world with the technology and all of these are all, you know, part of the creativity of a human being. And I remember, you know, those guys, the two brothers who invented the flight, the airplane.
Yes, we'll
You
never
know,
forget that.
Exactly. They changed from, you know, we were always on the sea or on the train transporting, and then somebody said, no, we will fly. And these two brothers really, they had the belief that they
Yes.
can fly. And that's why they were successful. Another person who was like the government was after him, and with the budget and with all the media after him, they're looking for what he's doing in the project. He did not succeed.
Yes.
These two people or two brothers really succeeded, and they changed the world. They changed the way we travel.
So we're definitely back to believing that you
Yes.
can. Since we're talking about believing, what motivates people to actually become creative or be creative?
That's an innate need. So we need to come up with a novel thing. You know, like people are writing books to show that they are, you know, they came up with artists like Picasso. You know, they paint, and so it is innate in us that we want to produce something unique, novel. So that's part of it.
Yes.
And then the second thing is that the need of communicating value and ideas and new ideas. So if I am at work and I am the one who always come up with the new ideas and new things to do, I'm going to be seen by the management and by my colleague that I am creative.
Yes.
And that's a good thing to have. And I believe thirdly is the need of accomplishment, of problem solving again.
Of course.
Now, if a person is identified as a problem solver, his or her value will be really high.
Yes.
People will pay money to sit with that person to solve their problems. So
Of course.
it is very important, and that's what motivates people to become more creative.
Definitely, to be basically push to be a better person, if it's at work or even in society.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So I think we mentioned a lot of benefits of being creative
Yes.
very indirectly, but what are the actual benefits that you believe are from creativity?
The main thing is the well-being. Being creative is being healthy. You know, because we are coming with something totally new. We're coming up with a solution for the world. That solution or that idea, it's not, maybe the person who came up with the idea is long gone, but
Right.
his idea or her idea remained, where people are benefiting from all of these ideas that we are getting now. You know,
Yes.
it was in in some person's mind. They thought about, for example, the cell phone.
Yes.
And why do we have a wire, or let's have a wireless cell phone? And you know, they started, or somebody like, you know, we have the crow, you know, in the elementary school, they
Right.
taught us the story of the crow, the fable, where, you know, he found a pitcher of water, but the water was too little
Right.
for the bird to, you know, drink it. So he started taking little rocks and throwing them in that pitcher until the water came up, so the bird can drink from it.
Yes.
That's creativity. So, you know, there are many of these examples. Like,
Yes.
for example, even Steve Jobs with the cell phone, it took them 2.5 years. And the research and development, whenever they come up with a solution,
Yes.
he says, no, I want it to be simpler. I want it to be
Right.
more attractive. I want it
Accessible
to be
for everyone.
accessible, yes. And
sure.
they came back and they came back again and again until they found what he really wanted, because he believed that he had the vision, and he believed in their potential, that they can do it. and
I
it
think
changed the whole world.
definitely. I don't think any of us can live without this invention
No.
anymore, and it is easy and accessible for all of us. I think you had
Exactly.
really great stories to tell us.
you.
Do you have any final words or even advice when it comes to creativity?
My advice is, as I said, you know, everyone is creative. Just like an artist, the artist will start with a blank canvas. And then with the use of the colors and stuff, and they came up with a piece of art.
Yes.
Like us, if we have a challenge, if we have an issue at home, in the society, at work, have a blank of paper and start thinking of new ideas, of alternatives. Sometimes we limit ourselves to one alternative. The first idea that comes, we take it and we run from it. No, be patient, think, and decide which is the best alternative for you. That is, it will have a good return on what, as a result of what you did, as a solution of your issues or your situations.
Of course. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Hamza, for all this advice, and hopefully we can push ourselves to be even more creative with your advice.
We need it. The world needs us to be creative, so we have to be creative.
I completely agree with you. Thank you so much for being with us this
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you.
Dear viewers, we had with us Mr. Hamza Taqi, the Master Performance Consultant, and up next we have a report on heritage. Stay tuned.